Hello, people. Hello. Today is Wednesday, June 19th at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I'm on the eastern seaboard of the USA. Um, and we're here today to have a chat, to have an open discussion about the ImAllexx situation. I have not I've started learning about this. I'm probably not 1,000% informed, but I'm caught up as much as I can be at this point. And I've got to say, situations like this really bother me. I mean, for tons of reasons, right? It's on its face, it's a very ugly situation. But I think what I mean is like when these sorts of claims are made against members of specifically the commentary community, it's particularly irritating. It's particularly concerning to me because of the nature of our community and what we tend to do and the specific kind of trust that we have with our audiences. And so it pains me to see not only the really, really terrible claims that are being made in this situation, but also how these claims and these events impact the audiences specifically. It embarrasses me as a member of the commentary community, and it makes me so, and as a consumer of commentary content as well. So I understand the audience perspective of this. It makes me just feel so hard for ImAllexx's audience. And so that's a big part of what today is about. We're going to get into it in just a second. And I really want to hear from you during this live stream because a big part of today for me is allowing you guys a safe place to describe how you're feeling. Because I feel like these situations absolutely have a huge mental health impact on audience members, but it's such a, like, talking about a YouTube scandal that's making you feel really sad and really disappointed and heartbroken is not necessarily something that you can easily do with, like, regular people in your life who aren't necessarily YouTube watchers. So use this chat as a place to express how this makes you feel, whether you're watching during this live stream or afterward. Get your feelings out, and hopefully we can have a conversation as a community, as audience, and hopefully some creators come along during this stream or afterward where we can discuss how we as a community can stop this shit. Because this is not the first time that this type of, not to this extent necessarily, but like where this type of thing has been brought up about one of our own. So, before we get fully into it, thank you for being here live. Hello, Willow. Hello, Carrie. Hi, Avery. Hi, Disney. I'm going to just quickly say, if you're here, like the stream, like the stream, subscribe to my channel. I'm prioritizing streaming now, not videos, so put your notifications on so that you can be present for streams. Also, I put out a video yesterday that I would like to get a little bit more so I can get a little bit more attention on the JC Kalen situation that nobody's talking about. So I made a video about that yesterday. Check it out if you have not. Share it if you did see it. And this is exactly it. Fimbles. This is how I felt after Wilbur got outed. Just so furious, and it hit my depression, and I didn't know how to express it. Yes. I feel like that's something that I've really noticed and wanted to be present about, I guess, on my channel is the mental health impacts of these situations on audiences. I'm no psychologist, I'm no lawyer, I'm no police, right? Everything I'm saying in this video is speculation based on people's claims and allegations, and, you know, take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. But what I know as a viewer of commentary and watching big situations go down is like the feeling of parasocially feeling so much for all the people involved, as well as feeling isolated and unable to discuss it with the people around me because it's so specific and like niche. So that's what I want you to be able to do today during the chat. I have some thoughts that I would like to share, as well as a summary of events. And I will be trying my best to like hear what you're saying in the chat as we go along. And then once I'm done with my thoughts, let's discuss, you know, and while I'm talking, please feel free. Respond in the chat. Let me know how you're feeling. I'm here to, like, this might sound a little funny, but like, I'm here to provide a place of care in relation to this situation. There are a ton of videos that are very triggering about this situation. You know, for anybody who's ever been a victim or a survivor of this type of scenario, just seeing the texts, seeing the videos, and hearing the audio is enough to really, you know, trigger a lot. And when I say this scenario, I'm going to get into my summary here shortly, but I'm not going to show the source material during this stream because there are a ton of resources already doing that, so it's readily available out there. I'm going to link a couple of resources. They're already linked in the description of this stream / on the replay. It'll become a video. So it will be available for you if you are interested in going to see the source material, but I'm trying to keep this a safe space of care. I think a lot of people who are coming here already know pretty much what has been alleged, and for those who don't, I'm about to get into a summary. And you don't need to see it again. You don't need to hear it again. You don't need to see the videos again. If you do, check out the links in my description and then come back, or, you know, or just go watch those. But we're here to kind of react after the fact. So, a summary to catch anybody up who's not familiar before then I present some of my own thoughts. And by the way, just two tiny things. I know, I'm sorry, I have the longest intros on YouTube. I'm in the middle of a heat wave here in the Northeast. I have cooled this room down as much as I can. If it gets too hot, I may need to turn on my AC. I'm just warning you in advance. Secondly, because I feel like this may become a distraction, it's distracting me right now. I have henna on my hand. I went to my friend's aid party, and she taught us about age. She taught us about how to apply henna in celebration. I just wanted to like mention it in case it throws anybody off or surprises anybody. I have the most respect and love for my friend and her faith, and I didn't want to reject her, like, sharing her culture with me just because I'm going to come on YouTube. So I wanted to explain why this is here. Okay, now, summary. Everything I'm about to say is my speculation based on allegations. I am not a lawyer. I am not police. I was not personally involved. I am providing my observations so far, which are subject to change as things develop. And I am providing a place for you to express how this sudden, huge situation is making you feel, because I'm sure there are feelings. And I'm reading from notes. Yes, I am. Hi. Can you please do the thing that you do? Yay, okay, because there's a little way to open up a tiny window. Okay. So just as a broad overview, ImAllexx is a commentary YouTuber with almost 2 million subscribers. There are not a lot of commentators with audiences this big, so it's worth noting because he has a huge presence in this community. which makes the impact of his actions all the much more huge. Over the past few days, 3 of his romantic exes have come forward and exposed how toxic and abusive he was toward them. I will get to a point where I can start saying that word. I think we might not be that far into the stream yet. And basically, there's no denying it. If you've seen the evidence of like what these people have shared, the text messages, the audio recordings, the videos, there's really no, in my opinion, there's no denying that, yeah, it's abusive. It's gross behavior. Oh, there, I just said it. So I hope I didn't, all right. Demonetization station, here we come. There may be explanations for this behavior, but there is no two ways about it that a lot of the messages and video evidence that have been exposed are absolutely abusive. This all started with Alice, a recent partner of his, who started exposing basically a document that she has been putting together since May of 23, I believe, and collecting evidence of how she was being treated by ImAllexx. And then she just recently felt like now is the time. I feel like I can talk about this now. And so she did, and she dropped everything. And it is very intense. There are photos in there. There are screenshots of texts in there. There are videos in that file. There are, like I said, plenty of source material to support what she's describing. And again, I'm not showing it here because I want this to be a safer place. I'm just going to give you a broad explanation. And there are a million other videos that show all of that if you want to see it. After Alice made her expose, next came Ani, and then Jess. Jess revealed their revelations within the past 24 hours. And these 3 relationships took place over the course of years. One of them was around 2017. The next one was around 2020. And then Alice, the most recent one, was 23 to 24. So we're talking about the course of like 7 to 8 years, similar ongoing behavior. And to me, there is enough similarities among these different accounts to say that like ImAllexx is showing some really serious, dangerous patterns of how he treats his partners. For a broad overview of the behavior that they have shared, there is copious hard evidence of ImAllexx being verbally abusive against his partners and calling them disgusting, demeaning, and sexist names. Remember my last video with the JC Kalen situation and the stream as well that video is cut from? This is not polite sexism, this situation with ImAllexx. This is overt. This is bold-faced. And the reason that I say that like the polite sexism is the most dangerous is because it hides. This is not hidden. He's just out there calling people B words and C words and like all sorts of really gross things that I'm sure he would not say to a guy. That's just, And yes, Kate, that's exactly what I was just saying. Kate's on it. I know Alex is bi, but I don't know if he's had any male identifying partners. Is there any speculation that this behavior is targeted specifically toward women identifying persons? Hi, it's me. I'm speculating it. Hello. The speculation is me. So, along with names, there's evidence of him verbally threatening violence against his partner and her cat. Evidence of Alex essentially saying his dedication to his work is why he treats her this way. And claims that Alex was physically abusive claims of him destroying his ex's property, claims that Alex has kept illicit photos of prior exes and possibly even taunted some of them with those photos. There is... When I heard that story, I know. Oh! Sorry. I feel like that was an element of the Creepshow art situation. Let me know if you remember. Or some other situation that I have covered on my channel. That there was this like sending of nudes and like taunting with the fact that this person has nudes. It's Destery Smith. It's Destery Smith. People, if you have not seen my videos about Destery Smith, I implore you to please go check out my content regarding Destery Smith. He is an active danger. And I do my smile laugh thing. It's my nervous, either I smile and laugh or I cry. So if just, a side quest for you, if you're interested, please check out my videos that I have made about Destery Smith. He is a huge problem. And I'm very passionate about how big of a problem he is. Alex also seems to be a huge problem. Now, at this point, over the past few days, we've heard these allegations from 3 different past romantic partners. These people are not perfect humans. There are a couple of things that have come out about them and their past involvement in different situations. It seems to me like those things took place while they were in relationships with Alex, but I don't really know. I don't know everything about Elphaba and friggin' Slavo or whoever, and I don't need to know everything to be able to look at this and say, okay, this is a problem. This is bad behavior. No, we don't do this. And honestly, that was part of why, like when I first was looking into this story yesterday, I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to talk about this because what is there for me to say? It's so obvious that how he's been treating people is bad and gross and wrong. Like, do you need me to sit here and go, wow, that's bad. Don't call your lady that name. Like, anybody with any like critical thinking can look at this and say, ew, gross, bad. Don't do that. Also, I'm probably not a fan anymore. But then I thought about how this was impacting me, absorbing this information that I had heard so far about ImAllexx. For me, it has made me reflect on certain relationships in my life and see them in a different light. Some of the evidence around this situation makes me think of like the way that ImAllexx behaves is kind of like an amplification of certain people in my life. It's like them times 2 or 3. And seeing it that way through the lens of some of the audio recordings that he, hearing him in some of the audio recordings, especially because yesterday morning I had therapy, and some of the things I was talking about in therapy around these certain people in my life, plus the things that I was hearing Alex say, I was like, oh, Alex is these people, but like unfiltered. Like if certain people had no self-control or were let loose to do and say whatever they wanted to with no repercussions, because I think that that's how Alex feels or felt at the time of the recordings. So that raised a lot of red flags for me around those people in my life. It's not the same behavior, but I can see it on track, on a path to potentially become the type of behavior that ImAllexx is displaying. And I don't want that in my life. So it's making me more likely to act sooner regarding certain people in my life and explore how I want to handle my relationships with them moving forward. And I feel like if that's just one side effect of how this story impacts just one person, there's got to be tons of more impacts on the audience. And like I said, I'm sure it's triggering for anybody who's been through even part of like one, like this is the abuse gift basket. This is like every single kind of, not every single, but most, aside from SA, most times of mental, verbal, emotional, including physical abuse, all in one basket that we have been shown evidence of, allegedly, of like, and it's all, you know, thanks to like the organization that Alice did, it's all kind of neatly packaged and provided to us. Look at everything and here it all is. And that's a lot for an audience to be presented with. I wish there was a better term than gift basket. More of like a I don't know. Give me a better term in the chat. But it's everything. So this is why, again, like, let me know your thoughts on all of this. Let me know how this is impacting you in the audience below, or in the in the chat or in the comments below. And I have a couple of thoughts on why and how it might have the impact that I'm describing, of being particularly triggering and being particularly like hard on the audience. So that was an overview of what has been described online so far. I'm going to give you some commentary and some thoughts here really quickly. No, really quickly. I'm not quick about anything. But then I will be turning to the chat. So whatever you want to share, put it in the chat now. So the thoughts I have so far in reaction to what has been shared about ImAllexx. And by the way, if I'm missing anything, also share that in the chat, because I would like to provide whatever I can. So first of all, as a caveat, this story is still unfolding, so I am keeping my mind open just in case anything else comes out. But I can only imagine like 3 possible explanations for Alex's behavior, none of which are excuses. If we just focus on the behavior that we have hard evidence for, there's enough here to cause a lot of concern for how Alex treats his partners and raise further concern for how he treats female presenting people in general, in my opinion. Secondly, I'm very, like, my heart goes out to these survivors for what they've gone through. No one should have to be in this type of relationship or experience this type of treatment. They deserved better, and they are very brave for speaking out. I think the community should be grateful to them at this point. I have no reason not to trust what they have to say. I'll let you know if I change my mind, but I don't think that I will. We'll see. Like I said, I always keep an open mind, but there's hard evidence here, man. It's going to take a lot of convincing. Third, the more I learned about this situation, the more I was making connections to other things that we've seen. And yet again, like with Creepshow, like with Illuminati, and now with ImAllexx, we have a wolf in sheep's clothing and commentators who do call out videos on absolutely everybody else. But, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Let me start over. Liked Creepshow Art, like Illuminati, now ImAllexx, and I'm sure that there are others, by the way. We have a wolf in sheep's clothing. We have a commentator who can do call-out videos on everybody else, but then gets exposed to be an abusive asshole themselves. They can hold the mirror up to anyone else and expose their moral failings, but their own self-reflection is immensely lacking. Or my hunch is that they don't actually believe the moral stances that they take in their videos, and instead they're just parroting whatever their audience says back to them. And listen, this proves to be a profitable way to create online content, especially on YouTube, but personally, I think it's a shameful way to behave online and provides situations like this. The mask, the costume of the morally upright, righteous commentator. This is people who don't understand what the commentary community really is and what this is really about. People who think that you can wear like a mask or a costume, moral outrage, and just come online and be like, oh, people seem to be mad about that, and make a video saying the same shit that everybody else is saying. Like, that's why I try not to just say what everybody else is saying. If I feel like I have nothing additional to add, I don't talk about something. And because I don't want to come off as ingenuine. Because, and you get situations like this. Certainly most creators are not this way. But it's sad and disappointing and upsetting when we find out that secretly they are. I think it's a shameful way to behave online, to be completely honest with you. And I want to open the forum, like, what can we do to prevent more wolves in sheep's clothing? I don't know if there can. Or I don't know if we can. I don't know if there is anything we can do. But, maybe calling them out like this is a way to do that. But it's just, this is all after the fact. I don't know if there's anything we can do proactively as a commentary community. And maybe there's not. Maybe there is, maybe there's not. I don't know. Is there another way to be preventative toward these types of situations? Like I said, this is why I don't talk about stuff when I just have the same thing to echo that everybody else says. I also want to add a note, like, this is why I try my best to present my real opinions, whether they are popular or not. And I have had unpopular opinions in the past. If you've been here for a while, then you know that. But I think that it's important for creators to have unpopular opinions sometimes. When they don't, it starts to raise red flags for me and makes me think that they are not genuine and that I need to question them more than trust them. More importantly, this wolf in sheep's clothing revelation is always such a shock to the audience. And when this parasocial trust is broken this hard, it can really make people feel that no one can be trusted online. And in a sense, I do agree. To me, it's an unfortunate but important reminder that audiences only know any creator, including commentators, including myself, by what they put out there online and how they choose to present themselves. And I'm telling you about ways that I choose to present myself as we're doing this. It's important to take everything at all times with a grain of salt online. and keep your wits about you when it comes to forming bonds and parasocial relationships with any online creator, including myself. Hi, I'm not perfect. Not to say that no one can be trusted, but to say that they can only be trusted so far. I think that's fair to say. Including myself. I don't know. Like, I'm not here saying like I'm a secret criminal, but I'm just saying like I only know, you don't know me. Even those of you who have been around for a really long time, I recognize you in the chat. I appreciate you so much because I know that there are people who've been with me for a long time, but the extent to which we know each other is so different than if we had met in person and like worked together at work or something. You know what I mean? Like, just keep your wits about you. The last thing that I want to add is like my last thought on this. There has recently been some criticism for people around Alex and Alice who knew or may have known about the abusive and toxic relationship between them, but didn't come forward about it. And I think that this criticism comes from a good place, but I also think it is misplaced because honestly, that could have put Alice at real risk. And I think we need to remember that. We can tell from the evidence that we have, the hard evidence that we have, the texts, the audio and video recordings, that Alex was a bit of a loose cannon and had tendencies toward physical harm. The last thing that a victim or a survivor needs while they are in the situation they are in is for someone else to take control of their narrative and share their story before they are ready or safe to do so. And I understand that in retrospect, it feels like this may have helped Alice, or really it may have helped us so that we aren't supporting somebody that we don't like. I don't know that it would have helped Alice. I think there was a 50-50 equal chance that it may have helped her or it may have endangered her. And if an action that I'm considering has like a 50-50 chance of putting a victim in further danger, I'm not going to do that action. Personally, that action would be more about me than about the victim. And I don't think that that's fair. So I'll also mention that the community has been critical in the past about people trying to tell other people's alleged stories and allegations. We have talked in the past about how that is wrong. So it is also wrong in this situation, right? Like, we need to stay the same. We need to stay consistent. We need to not pick and choose. Especially if someone is still actively in a situation. That is not the time. The time is when they feel comfortable saying something, especially because this criticism is being brought against public figures. I mean, the public figures, listen, they could have maybe called the police. I don't know if they did that or didn't do that. But for public figures to speak publicly about somebody else's private relationship, I think there's a much more chance of increasing danger for somebody than actually helping. Because I think the first question would be, how did X public figure find out about what I was doing to you? And, why did they speak about it, making it the victim's fault? And I don't want to dig too deep into that role play, but like, safety first. Safety first. Always and forever, safety first for the victim / survivor. Their safety needs to be prioritized above all. And hindsight is 2020, but at the same time, like, I think hindsight says it was not smart for people to speak up until Alice was ready in the case of her relationship through 23 and 24. So, like I said, if you're just joining the stream, if you're just coming in, I that's my thoughts and my reactions to everything so far. My mind is open to see what else happens. I I think there's going to be more, but I cannot predict what it would be because there's too many different options that just all flickered through my head about different ways that this could continue to go down. So at this point, I'm at a wait and see kind of feeling. So I felt that this was important to discuss as a community because I feel like there's not as much discussion. Like there's plenty of discussion of what happened. And as I said, I didn't show the source material in here because I wanted to keep this place not triggering. I wanted to keep it safe for people to be able to kind of hear about what happened without actually seeing it because it is triggering in my opinion. There's plenty of places where you can go to see what happened. There's plenty of discussion about what happened. But I think that what I wanted to discuss was the impacts of it on the audience. And if anything, what we can do to prevent these types of creators from getting popular, and maybe there's not, a wolf in sheep's clothing is in sheep's clothing. We don't necessarily know who people are really. So what's the solution? Is there a solution? Is it just up to each individual creator's integrity to present themselves honestly? Because in this wild world of YouTube, I trust most people are being honest, but as we can see, a lot of people aren't. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think. I'm going to go over to the chat. I'm going to start taking a look. Like I said, today is a discussion day. Let me know if there's other things that I missed that you want to update me on. I'm going to come over here to the chat and take a look at how like I said, I want this to be a place for you to describe how this whole thing is making you feel, because it's very possible that it's hard for you to discuss in your personal life the very niche situation of what this is. So use this live chat as a place to vent, and like I'm here to try to take care as much as I can, and keep this a safe space as well. Okay. I used to watch ImAllexx and the whole little club around him years ago. After a while, I just felt this weird ick, and as if he was very entitled, etc. I'm very sad that my hunch ended up true. Thank you for saying that, B, because it echoes a lot what my comments have been saying about JC Caitlin, who I did a stream about, and then I did a video about it. I edited a shorter video and I put it up yesterday because my videos tend to reach a different audience than my live streams, and I want that video to be seen because I want people to talk about the issue with JC Caitlin, which I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop, but like, it's a problem. Anyway, the hunch, the ick, the early red flags. Trust those. You owe nothing to people that you follow online. So it's an easier bond to break. It's an easier boundary to set when somebody online gives you the ick. You can get out of there, I'm glad that you did, but again, we all kind of have this sense for these types of people, I think is kind of what I'm seeing through the comments to JC Caitlin and even the comments here about ImAllexx. Follow that hunch, follow that sense, that gut feeling. This has been an effing rancid thing to follow. I haven't watched him in years, but like, Jesus. Yeah, rancid is a term of art for how this feels. It does. It's toxic. It's it grips and hurts. And I would say it stinks being rancid. And I think all of these really, really, like creepshow art, like issues with dare I say Onision, but like other circumstances where like creators just go too far. They get too emboldened, and they, like Destery Smith. I'm going to bring him up again because I'm pissed. I watch my videos about Destery Smith, please, because he's a goddamn problem, and he needs to be goddamn kicked off the goddamn internet. He's a creep. Anyway, there are lines that people become emboldened to cross, and then it becomes this toxic, rancid situation. And as much as it's important for them to be found out, the process of that being dropped on the internet for like just kind of like, it shocks the fan system. It just kind of comes out of nowhere sometimes. And I'm glad that people are speaking up. I'd rather know than not know. But God, isn't it a tough process to go through? And it's fair if you are feeling some kind of way about all of this, okay? I watched ImAllexx up until the Slazo situation, and just very recently watched a video of his right before all of this came out. Weird coincidence. Yeah, people really don't like the Slazo situation. I don't know much about it, but I heard that it was false accusations, and that's a red flag right there. I realized I was getting the vibe that his stances were performative a while back. Yes, vibes matter. Vibes make a difference. Trust that instinct. I love it, Danny. Yeah, again with Slazo. When I heard about the Slazo stuff, it left a gross taste in my mouth and I couldn't watch him. Yeah, so this is a encapsulation of what I was describing before with creators just like putting on the costume of moral outrage. YouTube analytics respond well when I act like this is bad. I'm going to make all the videos about how this is bad. I love capitalism. Wee. Yeah, exactly. I am irritated by how many cases of that we have seen over the past couple of years. I could go on. Melanie, I think people who have a lot of followers become crazy with power and start to believe that their audience will support them no matter what they do. They are surrounded by yes people. Yes. And that's something that I fear, like, as much as, like I said in my last video, like, I'd like to get more subscribers, but I also am a little bit scared of what would happen to me if I was to, like, grow too much as a channel, because I don't want this to happen, you know? And it does seem like it happens. I genuinely can't tell if there's a thing you can do to make sure content creators are genuine besides just call them out when they're exposed. Yeah, honestly, probably. I wish there was. I don't know. I don't have the best like read on people sometimes, so I don't think so. Because then it kind of blurs the line of parasocial relationships. We only know what we know, says Kate. Yeah, it's true. It's true. You want to take people at their word. But I would say trust your instincts, trust your gut. I love Taya's takes. Man, I'm late, but I find it interesting that a lot of the discourse around this situation has started with the caveat to not say, I always knew something was off. I may I feel like, at least from what I'm seeing in the comments, people are saying I always knew something was off. But tell me more what you mean about that, Taya, if you're still around. I'm scrolling through the chat. Thank you guys for letting me know what you're thinking. Um, Asking about Destery, yes. Is Destery that guy who worked with Shane? Yes, he still does work with Shane. That's why. And Shane has children. And Destery has a thing about children. So that's all I'm going to say. So watch my videos, but I just like the concern that I have. But yes, that's who. Nothing has hit me as hard as when Glam and Gore and Creepshow, but I was a lot more invested in them. They were the first creators I had seen to be called out. Yeah, that happened like right around the same time. I think they're around up to like a year ago, a year apart from each other. But yeah, it's always the ones you don't expect. And that's what kills me about it. I'm seeing a lot of your comments saying I don't really think that there's a way to know. And I don't think really either. I don't think, logically thinking, there's no way to know who somebody really is. The reason that I ask about it is because I don't want to make it it feels blame the victim-y to say like, well, we all have to just not trust anybody and it's our fault for trusting people, when really it's the creator's fault for lying to us. Like if they're misrepresenting themselves, I have no control over that. Hi. What I have control over is if I trust them. And if you're presenting yourself as somebody trustworthy, so like that's the feeling I'm trying to navigate, I guess, by asking this question is like, what do we do to is it all our own fault? Let me know about that. Is it all our own responsibility? And is it our own, is it on us to, even if it feels to me a little blame the victim-y, is it on us, the shock feeling from something like this being exposed? Is it our own fault for trusting? Or is it some, it's not about fault. What am I saying? It's not about fault. It's the person who lied is the one who lied. The person who misrepresented themselves is the one who misrepresented themselves. How we feel in response to that is what it is. It's based on the relationship that we have with them, Do you understand what I'm trying to figure out? Is I don't think there's any way to prevent people from lying online, I wish, maybe it's just wishful thinking, that I wish there was something we could do to prevent these shock waves from being sent through our communities, time after time. Because it takes a toll on audiences' mental health. I really think that it does. Taya, you're into this kind of stuff. That would be something I would love to see some kind of research done about. I think there is I think that's why commentators are so respected until they're revealed to be wolves in sheep's clothing, you know? But like, for as long as they are credible, I think that that's why commentators are so appreciated and respected to their audiences, is because they're helping audiences understand and break down and navigate these shocking, ugly situations. So, I don't know. And then, especially when it's somebody like ImAllexx, who, like, if you're not familiar with what his channel actually is, so like this is his content. ImAllexx, almost 2 million subs. Colleen Ballinger's live show is beyond disturbing. I probably agree with that. Jojo Siwa is hiding a dark secret. I have not been following the Jojo Siwa stuff. Exposing Girl Defined's dreadful scam. I have some opinions about Girl Defined, so I would find that interesting to see. Something about Jack Doherty. Elphaba, I know that there's a lot of thoughts about how he talks about Elphaba. I don't know enough about it, but it seems toxic. Some light stuff like AI images and stuff, but Darman, alpha male TikTok, like there's these exposed topics. Ruby Frankie, Sniper Wolf. And there's also, it's mixed in with these like, this show sucks, 90 Day Fiance, Ghost Adventures, Come Dine With Me, Fat Families, whatever. But it's like typical commentator content, and usually coming from this place of you do bad, you do something wrong. So it just like, the audacity, I guess, to be doing what he was doing, at least what's been recorded, and then to also be coming on YouTube saying other people are bad and wrong or whatever, or other shows are disgusting or whatever, like, that's the kind of shit. It just, like I said, at the beginning, it embarrasses me as a member of the commentary community, creator community. Like, I think that's why I'm like, I want to figure out how to stop this shit. Because I hate it. I hate it that this is who it ends up being. Ooh. Danny, I do think live streams give you a better read on how people really are. True. I believe so. Okay. Taya, thank you for clarifying. I saw 2 different videos commentating on it, saying not to say that I always knew something was off because it's not helpful to the victims of the situation. While I understand their point, I don't understand why saying grace wasn't extended during other situations. It seems a bit consistent since the situation hits different for people. While I understand their point, I don't understand why that same grace wasn't extended during other situations. I think there may have been a typo there. It seems a bit inconsistent since the situation hits different for people. Yeah, there's always double standards when it comes to discussing certain stories, and like there's only one right way to discuss it. And I'm like, no. It's just let people talk, let people feel how they feel to a certain extent. Like we can't be perfectionists on the internet. I'm not gonna anymore. God. Oh, thank you. Yes, Taya. Um, so I figured that one out. um, To me, it seems like most of his friends are jumping ship. All the responses from them have been awfully similar, like same words and everything. I wouldn't be surprised if they have some PR helping them out behind the scenes. As commentary viewers, are there red flags that we can see in present time rather than hindsight? That's a better way to say this question that I have. Is like that's that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Other than like the ick or like the vibe, I don't really know. We're just all going to end up with internet trust issues. We keep us safe, 100. We can't let these awful people kill our kindness or our trust. Of course, life makes you not be naive, but that's how I feel a lot too, Panda Moo, is like, I want to approach everybody with the best, like, the best intentions or like seeing the best in them, you know? I want to. I don't want to not have that be how I am, you know? Um, I just try to keep mental distance between myself and creators, but I've never been one to parasocially invest myself in them as a person. They're just humans after all. They're imperfect. Absolutely. And I think that this is very important to remember. Ooh, true. Regarding people saying that they wish that the people around Alex had spoken out. Jeanette, one thing I wish more commentators would acknowledge, just because some people knew doesn't mean everyone close to him knew. Absolutely. Manipulators thrive because they're good at blame shifting and mind games. Yes. Yes. Um, oh, Alex also has a second channel and a podcast channel. Thank you, Willow. You guys are funny. I love reading through your chat. Abuse of power to me is so weird. I mentioned I go out of my way to relinquish privilege. Out of my way to be kind and helpful. I have plans for if I'm someday rich, donate my money and be middle class. And that's a really beautiful mentality to have. I think that not everybody feels that way. And it's sad. I think I was saying this in my last stream about JC Kalen, where it's so sad how clear of a connection there is between does this person have power and are they going to abuse it? Yes. There's no, like, it's really, really sad. Really, really sad. That being said, it's not inevitable. There are plenty of rich and, powerful, like social media powerful, social media powerful people who don't necessarily, abuse or misuse or whatever. And then we come to like, well, that's what we thought with this person, but then they were bad, blah, blah, blah. It's tough. I think that just because you have privilege doesn't mean you're going to abuse it. But it's like one of those things where like all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares, but squares are not rectangles. Where like a lot of people have power, but you have to have power in order to misuse it. Does that make sense? It was a point in my mind. Why don't his friends hold him accountable? I guess being charitable, they might not have known. I think this is what's happening, is them coming forward and distancing themselves from him is a way of holding him accountable. But yeah, I think it makes sense that that he might have kept this close to his chest, what was really going on, you know? But it also seems like people did have at least a hunch or an inkling, you know? I think another reason situations like this can feel like a gut punch to communities is I got enjoyment from this person while they were doing these awful things. Yes. And if someone felt like I think there was more to if they could relate to the person is a whole other ballpark. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, it sucks when somebody that you like and somebody that you relate to, because then it's like, somebody that you relate to especially, it's like, well, if they're capable of doing this, then does that mean that I'm capable of doing this? And it makes things I had a word and it left. Cloudy is good. Muddy. It's a lot of intermingling of emotions when you come from that place, you know? B, his friends apparently knew and thus distanced themselves from Alex last year. I think I heard that they knew the relationship was toxic to a point. Yeah, I've heard varying accounts around this. I think it's still, like I said, a lot of this is still kind of unfolding and remains to be seen. Okay. Tia says, I guess the closest thing to research I can think of is the questionable Stanford prison experiment. It's speculated that researchers picked people with more aggressive traits to participate in the study, which may have contributed to why prison guards in the experiment were so aggressive. Interesting. I want to read more about that. Thank you. That's the only research I can think about on top of my head that is similar. Very interesting. Don't smoke in bed. I think people's issue, including my own, is that you don't want to start searching for moral reasons to justify disliking someone. In this case, there was a very good moral reason to dislike, but not all. I think it got cut off, but you followed up. Like, it's fine to just dislike them without justification generally. It's not applicable to this case, but that's why people don't like the I always knew arguments. Gotcha. Okay, interesting. Huh. I think that, like, maybe it's a confirmation bias thing, or I don't know if it's confirmation bias, but it's like the feeling of you get a gut instinct, you get a vibe about somebody, and then something comes true. I don't think it's necessarily an argument as much as a reaction. Like, people are saying, like, oh, this person isn't bad because I always knew they were bad. They're bad because of what they did, and it confirms what I have always thought. Does that make sense? Like, not being able to put a finger on it, but getting a bad vibe about somebody. But with that being said, I understand how, like, relying on vibes and instincts and guts can be problematic or can be difficult. I don't know. I've been somebody who, like, a lot of my life, I've gone through phases when it comes to trusting my gut and not, like, trusting my instincts and not. And, like, in hindsight, My gut and my instinct has usually been right. But that's me and that's personal and that depends on the situation. So this is a very interesting conversation. We'll talk more about it. Thank you guys for having this conversation. Okay, I'm reading through the chat. We did mention Slazo briefly, but I don't know the whole story there, so we haven't like talked in depth about it. Other than the fact that what I've heard is that it was a false allegation against Slazo by Alex. I think his friends honestly handled it the best way they could. They reached out to Alice at times in the relationship and distanced themselves after he'd been toxic to them also. Yeah. Kate, I haven't seen anybody defending ImAllexx, but I'm kind of new to what research I've been able to. Actually, just kidding. Wait. There's always some bullshit. I saw. Let me just say this. Let me pull it up super quick. Oh. Oh. Okay, never mind. There was some video like from some like freaking red pill man channel being like, "Oh, this is fake outrage about ImAllexx." Where is it? Where is it? I'm looking for it. I promise I saw this morning. But okay, I'm not finding it right in this second, but I did see it this morning. I didn't watch it because I thought that it was annoying to like an obnoxious take specifically for the sake of being obnoxious. And I don't click on videos like that because, like I said, there is like no way to look at this evidence, regardless of the claims for things that we don't have, like a recording or a screenshot of. If you just rely on the recordings and the screenshots, there's plenty of proof to, like I said, really make me concerned about how he treats his partners and how he treats female presenting people in general. So I think it's a very bold take just for the sake of being contrarian to be like, oh, it's fake outrage. Sorry, I keep my camera is mirrored, so when I'm adjusting my shirt, I have to like do it in 3 different directions. Thank you, Mina. I always knew can seem smug, but there is someone who clearly didn't. So time and place. That makes sense, Mina. Thank you for saying it that way. As a, like, it's a thought that you should, you can have that thought if you want, but you should not necessarily express it with the idea that, like, you can feel that feeling, but obviously there's a victim who didn't have whatever intuition or gut or whatever that you had. So by saying it, it feels like kind of, I can say it feels like backhanded victim blaming to the victim because they couldn't, they didn't have whatever gut feeling that you had or something like that. Okay, that absolutely makes sense. I can see that. Yeah, time and place, absolutely. Time and place. I need to get like a soundboard or something with some good clips and good sounds someday. Yes, I knew blank all along. Centers your own feelings, I think. Yes, thank you, Willow. Yes. Thank you, guys. Yes. I always knew comments could also make survivors feel like they should have known and it's their fault. Yes. Thank you, guys. Okay, I'm seeing some summaries of the Slazo situation in the chat. Thank you, guys. I don't think I'm going to be looking into it, but if you're watching this on the replay and you want to find out more about it, honestly, live chat replay, they've got some good summaries in there. Oh, somebody mentioned Wilbur earlier in the stream, Evan. Tommy C was Akuma. Tommy C was the one I think who was talking about saying is fake outrage. Yes, that's the one. I saw that, and it was Tommy C. So of course, that's why I didn't click on it because I was like, oh, okay, Tommy. Yep. Yeah, exactly. We were talking about this before. I think that person was just rage baiting to farm views. TBH goes back to the capitalism machine of YouTube thing. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Um. Ah. Thank you, guys. I love this conversation that we're having. Also, I always knew can imply compliance, like you felt this feeling based on your observations and just let it go, but I could be totally wrong about that. I'm just gonna show a few comments. I don't need you all to agree with each other or to agree with me. I'm just like showing the conversation that's going on because I think it's beautiful. There's a big difference between I always knew versus I got bad vibes or something felt off. While not preventative, if we spend time thinking about what or why that is, maybe it can be used for future refs. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's why I don't have that mindset or say that. The like I always knew I get icks, but usually I don't assume the person was abusive from them, just that their personality isn't my vibe. Right, right, and that's fair too. That like there's a big leap between this person. I feel an ick about this person to that person is an abuser. That is a big leap. I would not support making that leap based off of just a gut feeling. But maybe you get a gut feeling or an ick or something, and therefore you think more critically, or you take more of a grain of salt, or you distance yourself. You know what I mean? But yeah. And then cyanite, probably the most important point in this whole conversation. Sometimes the victims do know, but they just don't have the support or resources to do anything with that knowledge. Absolutely. So important. And following up on that, Julia, exactly, or the emotional abuse leads to them not trusting their own judgment. Yeah. I love. And sometimes people immediately react with I always knew to false allegations. Right. right. People have a their gut feeling is not always right. I think a lot of times there's something there that is either being triggered for you from the past, or something is off for you personally. That does not necessarily mean that that person has done something wrong. It could be something about that person that doesn't work for you personally. So then having, this obviously this is complex, right, to unpack, but I love that you guys are talking about this. Coming forward is scary. Absolutely. And gaslighting is specifically designed to make you feel crazy and question your own mind and judgment. Abso-freaking-lutely. Regarding the emotional abuse that makes people not trust their judgment and their instincts. So, what a beautiful, valuable conversation we just had about that. And you guys can keep it going in the comments. I think that from there, it's the conversation around, what can we do about this? It seems like there's probably not much to do in advance. Maybe the most we can do is the reactive to when something big comes out. And Mina puts a nice point on it. The vibes were off is fine to say when you don't like someone. I'm paraphrasing. Not something to say when there is a serious allegation. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so I think you can follow a vibe, you can follow a feeling to a certain extent, understanding that at the end of the day it is a feeling or a vibe. It's not your gut feeling is not in and of itself an allegation, and I think it would be bad to interpret it that way. Does that make sense? When allegations come out, understand that if you felt a bad vibe about somebody, that wasn't you feeling, I bet they're a abuser. That was you feeling something. But I can see, thank you chat, how that absolutely is harmful to talk about because of the light it can shine negatively on the alleged victim or survivor. So I think there's a value to trusting your gut, but just understanding what your gut is saying might not be the same as your gut's not telling you this person did this to that and that. Your gut is just telling you something vague. It doesn't mean that it's because again, I'm thinking about solutions, and maybe this is not a problem that can be solved. I mean, in an idealistic world, it would be, everybody just comes online and be honest, and we all get to be trusting, and everybody's happy. And then that would be really, really lovely. I think it's not the world we live in, unfortunately. And maybe then that's just what this stream is it's okay to want that to be true and have to deal with the fact that it's not. It's okay to kind of mourn that we can't trust people, unfortunately, or, figuring out for yourself the level to which you can trust an influencer that you have not met in person, right? And that you're just following their work online. I think there's a lot more conversation to be had here. So continue having it in the comments. Thank you all so much for showing up. I've got to run, and I feel like I'm kind of at at the end of where I feel like I'm contributing much. I feel like you guys are contributing more in the chat. So, and I love that. Again, if you watch this on replay, watch the live chat replay. Some really, really fantastic conversation going on in there. Just a, quick little reminder, it helps my channel and it helps me, whatever, if you, subscribe, if you like the video that you're watching, if you, share it, if you want. I'm doing more live streams than videos moving forward. I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. So make sure your notifications are on so that you can join me live. Because, or of course you can watch on the replay. I'm going to try to make my lives a little bit, better for replay value moving forward. I recommend, if you can, please watch my video that I posted yesterday about JC Kalen, because I really would like that story to be heard. Share it if you want. Also, I brought up Destery Smith a couple times during this because there's some reasons, so check out those videos are on my channel as well. Oh boy. Oh, guys. Sorry, I'm reading a suggestion. You guys are fantastic in the chat. Thank you all so much for being here. I think I'm gonna head out, but have a fantastic day. If you're also in the heat wave, I hope you have AC. If you don't, find a public place with AC. Libraries are free to be in. And I hope you have a fantastic, what's today, Wednesday? We're halfway through the week, folks. We can do it. We can get there. Okay? Have a lovely day. Have a lovely, what is it? It's noon. Have a great lunch. Eat something. Hydrate. Feed yourself with nutritious food. And that's it for me today, okay? Have a good one. Peace be with you always. Keep talking in the comments below. Bye.